Paul, I wanted to say hi to you. I'm a friend of Chris's. Chris is a friend of mine. Chris is a good friend of mine down here in Williamsburg. W3RSW in the group from November 4, Delta Juliet.
That's funny, because I was just about to text him saying I'm working some guy in James City County, and of course he knows you, right? N4DJ near Williamsburg, Virginia. And the group also recognizing KC2FXE checking in, too. I'll get to you in just a second from WA3VJB. Very good, Don. Let me respond to Chuck's change of antennas and change of rigs there. Very, very strong now into Annapolis. Probably 40 over 9, 35 to 40. The S meter's not really calibrated, but the signal-to-noise ratio got so quiet while you were revolving your antenna. I was going to get ready to measure the needle against the pin as a PSI increment, pounds per square inch of pressure of the needle against the pin. So yes, it made quite a difference coming down this way for sure. And Don, to your rig, the Ranger and the 2B combination, yeah, that's cool. 1959 is right smack in the middle of Ranger's popularity, and it's nice that you've got that back on the air. I got just a snippet of a recording of it, if you haven't heard it before, that I'll be able to mail along to you there if you're good on the QRZ.com, the email pull down, Don. Let me get that break. Are you on there?
Roger. Yep, I certainly am. And this Ranger is not that old. This is a new Ranger. This is a Ranger 2. I got it in 1964, January 1964. So it's 59 years old. It's only 59 years old. It's a new one, over.
Oh, okay. It's a new one. Yeah, I got a car that age. I've got a 64 Buick that Chris and my grandfather bought brand new. So, yeah, 64 is fairly recent history. You're right. Okay. Well, let me, I'll send that along to you then after we wrap up. I'm getting ready to go in and get some lunch anyway, but let me pass it over to KC2FXE so he can deliver and receive a set of reports. You know me, running the Super Senior today, 1/4 kilowatt, and the receiver is an ITT McKay, the 3040 Alpha. KC2FXE and the AM Rally on 7275 WA3VJB. Go ahead.
Alrighty, Paul. Well, we'll have to readjust ourselves here. I tuned up on 74. That's where everybody was. I'm on 74, I guess. Close enough, but good afternoon, everybody. KC2FXE, Catskill, New York. Name's John. How have you been, Paul? Been a long time. And I'll give points out. I'm not collecting, so I'm just writing names and calls. I'm not writing any of the information down. So very interesting. I guess your sounds pretty good up there, Paul. I thought you'd be on the G. But anyway, we got the 813s here, and boy, I tell you, I was just come up here listening in. I heard you up there on 250, Chuck. I thought that's where you guys were working, and all of a sudden I heard you disappear. You were doing quite well up there too. But I heard you up there. Anyway, this is the 813s, buy a pair, tryout connected. And I got a little peeny antenna here. Boy, I'm trying to compare myself to Chuck, and there's no way. I mean, he's hundreds of feet in the air. I'm 65 feet in the air with an inverted V. 240 foot long, so. Anyway, everybody's sounding good here, and I just thought I'd come in and chat for a few seconds. And I guess there's quite a cable here, so I didn't listen long enough, I guess. But we're just playing with the AM Rally here today, exercising our equipment, our toys there. You sound very good there, Chuck. The 813s with the 572Bs. Man, outstanding. I'm jealous. Oh, being an engineer, that's what gives you the top of the list, I guess. You know, working on stuff like that. I'm just a grease monkey, old retired auto mechanic, so I learn things, try to implement them. Oh God, and the receiver here is just a little SDR play receiver on a computer. I got an R390A behind me that's sick. It's been sick for a year or so, and I'm gonna need help to figure it out. I mean, I've had been a couple years. 2 years ago, I dragged it up to Nearfest and had Ted look at it, and he zeroed it in on it, but he didn't want to dig in it. So I brought it back home. It's in the second IF, I guess, or second mixer. There's a noise being generated in there. So someday, maybe. So I picked this thing up so I could hear anyway. Everybody's doing good. I'm just gonna, I guess you're gonna go to lunch, Paul, and I'm gonna toss it on. And I've been listening. Very good noise on Gary. Man, I miss him on the air, man. I guess he moved too. Got another house. I know he had well, I'll leave that alone for now. But I haven't heard him in such a long time. I guess I know he's back into the rock and roll band stuff and been listening on the news. Anyway, I guess I'm going to send around. And Don, nice to hear you in there doing pretty good with the little Ranger 2. That's exactly what I have here is a Ranger 2 that's exciting the 813. So I'm using the Ranger as an exciter, and I'm using it also as an RF driver right now, an audio driver. So it's working for me right now. I am going to upgrade some things. I got some other things in the work that I'm going to do with it. So I'm not sure of the whole list here, but I know Paul, Don, and Chuck, but I don't know who else. A KC2FXE Catskill. Well, good afternoon, all.
Time for a little more horsepower. And what if I can so indulge a group, I'd like to do a real quick antenna test that you can comment on. And when it comes around to your transmissions here, I'm transmitting right now on the what I call my local high angle mode. It's a radiation angle of 50 to 70 degrees. I'm going to drop down to like 20 to 40 degree radiation angle. Hang on a second. This is 20 to 40 degrees radiation angle, much lower radiation, good for DX. Probably around 300 or 400 miles away, it might actually be a little bit better. So this is the kind of the low angle mode here. Back to the high angle, and this is back to high angle, which probably is better for DX. Anyway, Paul, you still there? This is K1KW, over.
Yeah, I would say it's probably 5 to 8 dB of difference between the, I guess the current one that you left it on when you just turned it over to me and the one that you switched to for a brief pause there. Probably 5 to 8 dB here at Annapolis, with the one in the middle there being that much lower. The one that you're on now is the strongest of the two, and it's it's quite an impressive difference. Yeah, well, the stations that are in here, I'm going to throw it up in the air like so much confetti, is Bill, KD1SH. Glenn is in here, N1YTN, but he's kind of sitting on the side because I don't think he's copying that well many of the stations. Rick is in here, N3RSW at Bridgeport, West Virginia. He might be a good one to check your antenna on, so maybe I'll turn it to him next and leave him holding the bag as I head for the door. We got Don in here at Williamsburg, Virginia, N4DJ. John in the Catskills, KC2FXE on the 813 rig. And Pete, K2AEP on the Cheyenne and Comanche. He should probably have it next, because I didn't hear much more out of him than that initial transmission. So, Rick, why don't you take it and then turn it to Pete, K2AEP. And, yeah, it is good news on Gary getting his radio back together. I'll say that much. I'll text him that we've missed him on the air here, that you guys have been asking about him, so that's cool. Here comes Rick, and again, turn it to Pete then after that, K2AEP. W3RSW and the AM Rally from WA3VJB Annapolis.
With KA2PVT.
Okay, Paul, thank you very much. WA3VJB in the group. Whiskey 3 Romeo Sierra Whiskey, W3RSW.